Today we're talking about call to action. So during the course of this video, I'll be referring to it as CTA, but every so often I'll get back to saying call to action. So don't get confused, it's just call to action. Right, and I know my viewers are brilliant, so here we go. A call to action is a message, typically in the form of a button, a phrase, or a link that directs a user to perform a desired action. The desired action could be a download, a literal call, or could be given buying a product or an item, or leading to a contact page. So this is one of the things that many of us overlook, because once you've done the heavy lifting, you've come up with the creative, you've come up with the campaigns, you've done everything, you've funded the accounts. The last thing is the right call to action, and it's many of us overlook it, and it's a downfall for many of our businesses. Even if we move the margin by maybe 20 to 30%, that's a huge improvement in terms of sales, in terms of cost per lead, in terms of cost per click. Right, so in 2025, scarcity of attention is a big problem. We are all competing for those few seconds that somebody pays attention to your ad. It is said somebody looks at an ad for 2 to 3 seconds and they ignore it. And then there's also another thing called ad fatigue. So subconsciously they're ignoring your content, but if you get those 5-10 seconds, you want your items to pop out, and you want your potential clients to make a decision to buy your product. So as attention scarcity is a problem, let's make the most of it. So in this video, we're gonna have a conversation about why big CTAs are, some of them they fail because they fail at a neurological level. We're going to look at high converting CTAs. We're going to look at how to test different CTAs and the difference it gives you through A/B testing, and we're going to learn how super marketers get the best value. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the psychology of the action, what the user thinks when they are making the decision to click on your call to action. So a CTA is a micro decision. It's a small decision to agree with your offer and to provide some simple information, or to move the conversion forward. So for example, a better description is a CTA is a behavioral trigger, a small click that they're agreeing to what you're saying. They trust you a little bit and they're ready to move forward with you. When somebody's brain reads your call to action, they're like, okay, is this worth my time? Is it worth my energy? Is it worth my attention? And if they agree to yes to all that, then you have a polite agreement or a simple agreement. So you should know every click has requires some cognitive effort. So they have to agree to do it. They are okay with what you're selling. People make decisions also emotionally, and then they justify it logically. That's also something you should know. And lastly, you want to reduce as much friction as possible to reduce any loss and for them to agree. So an unclear call to action leads to somebody going somewhere somebody to do something that is unclear. They're going to spend a lot of time exploring to find out what your message is all about, and they're going to realize this is not for them. Right. The second psychological effect is the no dopamine loop. According to the science of neuroscience, which feels silly saying that, according to the brainiacs in neuroscience, they say you get a dopamine hit when you're expecting something rather than when you actually get it. So when somebody anticipates something by clicking on your call to action, they're predisposed, or they are excited to get what you're selling or what your offering is. So for example, they're looking forward to your offer Like let's say you have a hack that, or a call to action that says 7 hacks to reduce your spending in X amount. People will be curious about it and then click on it, as opposed to having a call to action that says check out this page to find out more information. So the third psychology of a call to action is there is no loss aversion. You should know that people are more inclined to protect what they have than gain. If you give the person the option of either winning $100 or losing $5, they're gonna say nope, I'm not gonna risk it. I'd rather keep my $5. You stay with your $100. So you should have a call to action where you prove that they're losing nothing. They're not losing time. They're not losing inconvenience. They're not losing any of the energy. So a call to action that says visit our website means that subconsciously they're going to spend time on your website, either browsing or waiting for it to load. But if you tell them there's only 3, if you're selling a product and you go like there's only 3 left in stock, hurry up now, then they don't lose that opportunity. They will rush to your website. This gives you a better point in selling or getting your people to do the action that you want them to do. So let's look at the anatomy of the CTA, the anatomy of a call to action. There are around 6 to 7 things to think about when you're coming up or crafting a call to action. You have to think about clarity, you have to think about relevance, you have to think about friction reduction, you have to think about value proposition, you have to think about visual emphasis, and then the last 2 are urgency or scarcity, and lastly consistency with the offer from where they're from to where they're going. So with that, let's start with clarity. So your call to action should be very clear to what the user is meant to do. Like, for example, download this free guide, book your 15 minutes demo, get 10% off your first order. A good call to action is like, book your first free 15 minutes on this call, rather than saying call us now. Use plain and precise language, and certainty kills momentum. When it comes to relevance, try to match your CTA with your audience intent. I will talk more about this later in the buyer funnel, but if somebody is not ready to buy your product, having a call to action that says buy now will lose you a lot of clicks that you need to sell to them later. So you want to move that. Another thing you want to reduce that I mentioned is friction. This is people are more apprehensive with giving out their information, their email, their telephone number, their credit card details. So if you want to get more buy-in, put things like no credit card needed, get instant access, download in 1 click. Simple, quick. Another thing you should consider is your value proposition. What is the benefit they're getting after clicking your link? So what do they get out of this action? So are they saving time? Are they going to save money? Are they going to solve a problem? Are they going to make them feel good? If your CTA doesn't give them any of that, that means they won't care and they won't click it. Another thing to consider is a visual emphasis. Your call to action should be very distinct and significant from the text. It should have different colors. If it's a button, it should be a specific. It should stand out on the page. It has a color that is contrasting from the background. It is large and has readable fonts. It is placed in a logical location. And lastly, when it's clicked, there's a sense of urgency. I talked about urgency and scarcity in a few minutes ago, so I'm going to get back to that for the next 1-2 minutes. we all have the fear of FOMO, which is a fear of missing out. We want to make sure we're getting the value. So if you say things like only available today, limited spots remaining, ends at midnight, or this offer lasts for such and such a period, this pushes people to subconsciously go like, since they don't want to miss out, they'd buy your product or click on the action. This happened to me yesterday when I was shopping for, I wasn't even shopping, I looked at an ad saying this washing machine is only available at half price between this period and this period. And the first thing I thought of like, oh no, I hope I haven't missed it. That's how FOMO works. Consistency with the offer is another thing that you should think about. If you're offering one thing, let it be one thing. Don't give the user very many options. Just tell them, if you download this, if you click this button, you'll download this. When they click the button, let them download that. Let it not be a whole thing where they're taken to your website where they have to do different things. It may be convenient for you, but it's very inconvenient for the user. The call to action changes depending on the buyer cycle. So you have to have a strategy for your call to action. There's the above, middle, and below. So if you're dealing with people on the above, on top of the funnel, you want people whose goal is to increase curiosity, a light engagement, and a low commitment. So people at this level, you want to use things like see why 100,000 people like this product. You want to say things like how I turned $5 to $500. You want to say things like what would you do in this situation? This is not pushy, this is just gentle. Tell them if you could be interested in this, get this. Then when you move down the funnel, you want to talk about this is where you have gained a bit of trust, and you want to educate your people, you want to educate your clients about what you're offering. This could be in terms of downloading white papers, e-papers, free guides. You could be giving out a full case study, and you could have an offer where you compare different packages side to side from cheap, affordable to premium, and you provide value at this level. When you're at the bottom of the funnel, the call to action is totally different. This is where you need your people to give a firm commitment by either downloading your product, buying your product or service, or getting started for your solution. This is where trust has already been established. You also have testimonials working for you, and you're gonna give them, you're assuring them they're gonna get value for their commitment. I talked about giving you examples earlier, so I'm gonna give you examples of how large companies made a big difference with changing their call to actions. Starting with Unbounced. Unbounced changed their call to action from start your free trial to see plans and pricing, and they were able to increase their conversion from by 56%. Shopify emails, their call to action was download the plan, and the email headline was unlock your holiday marketing plan. Then the call to action was download the plan, which is very straightforward, which led to 21% higher increase in the click-through rate. HubSpot had on their blog post, they said visit our product pages. They changed it to get your CRM free and forever, which also doubled the click-through rate or the conversion. And lastly, Spotify, they moved from saying check out this page, now they say tap to listen to your favorite musician. Elite marketers or superstar marketers know things about how to move a person from inaction to action. So they start with low risk call to actions, like saying by getting the foot in the door. They use low friction call to actions like take the quiz, get the checklist, and once you engage with the next level, they use call to actions like book a demo, subscribe now. There's a thing called the Zeigarnik effect. I apologize if I pronounced that badly. This means that the brain remembers unfinished tasks more than the finished one. So if you give out information like see how it ends, or we tried this and this is the result surprised us. So the reader is left hanging, or the user is left curious to wonder how to do this, and they are more inclined to click on your call to action. And then there's commitment framing, where you want to change it from your perspective to their perspective by using terms like not terms like call to action, like yes, I want to grow my sales. Yes, I want to grow my sales. Show me the strategy. Now, let's audit your current CTAs. The first question you should ask yourselves, here are a couple of questions you should ask yourself. Is the value clear? Does it sound like every other brand? Is it matched to the right stage or right position in the buying cycle? Is it visually clear and clickable? Is there urgency or risk reduction? Can they click the link? Is it possible for them to watch the video? Can they buy a comment, or can they buy something, or can they leave a comment? Some examples of weak call to actions are like learn more. That's a weak one. A better one is unlock these 5 strategies that you can apply today for your business. Another one is subscribe now, which everybody does that. So instead of using subscribe now, go like join thousands of users who have learned from us. Read this blog, another weak CTA. 2, get the full breakdown of how we grew the business from point A to point B. In conclusion, you want people to buy from you, leave a comment, engage with your product or services. So you have to be very smooth, you have to be very calculated, you have to be very intentional. So with that, you want your call to actions to be clear and to show value, reduce friction, add urgency, match the moment. I hope all this works for you, and I look forward to your feedback in your comments or in my email. And with that, I will say, get out of here.